Hi everyone, Richard Beckett here from the Sophos Cloud Security Group. Now, extending your footprint in the cloud is really a logical step for many organizations. And so during the session today, we'll be talking about how the Sophos Cloud Security ecosystem is helping our customers. From protection of SaaS email services such as Office 365 to securing and wiping out breach points in cloud infrastructure services like Microsoft Azure, even going further to help optimize cloud resource spend as well. Now, it's important to remember that as you move to the cloud, so do the criminals. And 70% of organizations hosting data and workloads in the cloud actually recently told us that they had now suffered a security incident in the last 12 months. And that is a level of threat that varied very little between the 26 countries that were surveyed. But to find out the right security strategy for you, we really need to understand what you're looking for from the cloud. So ask yourself, are you consuming cloud's hosted services, so software as a service, or are you creating and deploying infrastructure, so infrastructure as a service? In one case, this leads organizations down the path of cloud access security brokers or CASB solutions and security for SaaS applications and so on. While another leads down the path of securing back-end infrastructure that the organization is creating within public cloud provider environments such as Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services. Now, whether your answer is SaaS, you're using services like Office 365 or Jira or Salesforce as common examples, or whether it's infrastructure as a service, so providers like Microsoft Azure, or it's a combination of the both. Wherever you're at, both are the future of organizations as cloud really becomes the primary deployment environment for organizations in the coming years. Now, both these areas are what we call public cloud, and the public cloud is under attack. Now, as we mentioned at the start, as you move, so do the criminals. They are ultimately extending what works already to this new attack surface. And the types of attacks that are hitting organizations here that you can see on screen are probably nothing new to you, including well-known threats like ransomware. Now, your protection strategy is ultimately going to be determined by the use cases you're needing to serve. Now, the good news is that Sophos Central, which is the backbone of Sophos' cloud security ecosystem, is ready to help secure your users, your applications, and your infrastructure in the cloud. So whether you are consuming cloud services and need to secure SaaS email like Office 365, or you need visibility of applications accessed by users to detect shadow IT and prevent data loss, or whether you're creating or deploying cloud infrastructure with providers like Azure and need to secure virtual networks and web applications, or connect remote workers into your cloud environments, or secure virtual machines from threats such as ransomware, or to improve security posture with improved visibility of assets in use so you can discover your surface area for attack, or maybe monitor security configurations to ensure backdoors aren't being left open to criminals. Or it may be monitoring compliance status or access permissions to ensure you don't have over-privileged user roles, even down to cloud spend. Sophos Central and Sophos have you covered in all regards. But individual organizations, you will likely be at different points in your journey to the cloud, and you may have varying levels of cloud management experience as well. Some of you may be just starting out. You're perhaps lifting and shifting what you have on premises to the cloud. Whereas others, you might be leveraging cloud native services, building application infrastructure through automation, through a DevOps approach. And while the security use cases we highlighted a moment ago may be needed by some, if not all, of the different types of organizations, the level of control or the level of depth of functionality and perhaps integration with cloud provider services and tools will likely vary quite greatly. Now, Sophos solutions are really well placed to scale with you here, both in depth of functionality and integration with cloud provider services. But today, we're rather short on time, so together, what I really want to do is focus on a common goal across all experience levels, and that's to improve monitoring of your cloud environments. Because there is a lot of chaos, unfortunately, in managing security across cloud environments. And why is that? Well, I like to think it's because of four main areas. The first one is multi-cloud, and specifically the user experience for the person administering your cloud environments. Now, 73% of organizations that we surveyed now use 2 or more public cloud providers. And organizations will likely adopt multiple cloud platforms by design, to use the best technology for your applications, maybe leverage or retain leverage over the cloud service providers themselves. But the challenge here soon becomes how to monitor what's going on with multiple consoles and services and configurations. How do you juggle all of that? Next is all about short-lived resources. Our resources now are shorter lived than ever in the cloud. If you go back, 5-10 years, you might have been deploying on bare metal, more recently virtual machines, and you knew that would exist for months, if not years. And if you needed to look at the logs, you just remote desktop in. But now, you've got serverless functions existing for microseconds. You've got containers that exist for minutes. Third up here, you have more services generating more data than ever. With hundreds, if not thousands, of cloud resources and services, depending on the size of your environment, how do you aggregate that data and identify the high priority events that could turn into a security incident, or maybe run up a large usage invoice, for instance? It's not efficient or really even possible for humans to do this manually. And most importantly of all to some, particularly if you're building or in the cloud, if you're creating new infrastructure in the cloud, there is a much faster release velocity here. Companies may have had to release once a quarter before, maybe planning for 2 weeks before. And if something broke the next day, you kind of knew what caused it. But now you have development teams very much at the forefront of your cloud strategy. They are deploying multiple times a day, often with automation. So how do you know what caused that issue that could have caused a security weakness? It's much harder to do at the pace that environments are changing. And that's why at the heart of our cloud portfolio is the Sophos Cloud Security Posture Management solution. This is a service called Sophos Cloud Optics. Now, Cloud Security Posture Management, or CSPM tools, they combine and they extend these cloud provider tools and services into a single interface and give you that visibility across multiple cloud environments. It's all about providing complete visibility of your cloud assets, discovering and monitoring your surface area for attack. It's all about monitoring resource spend so you can optimize your budgets with the cloud providers. Dedicating insecure cloud configurations and deployments that can be exposed by and leveraged by an attacker. Identifying access anomalies and overprivileged access roles that, if obtained or compromised by an attacker, could allow an attacker to run riot through your environments. And on to maintaining compliance, identifying failures with compliance standards such as GDPR or security standards like SOC 2, so you can ensure compliance is maintained. And Cloud Optics can do all of this from the development cycle, before infrastructure is even built, through to the ongoing security of live cloud services. So this is all about giving you the ability to understand what you are running in the cloud and give you a baseline of security posture on which to build your security strategy. All the time here, we're using things like guided remediation, automated remediation to fix issues within your security posture fast as well with optics. Now, one of the big advantages of Sophos is we understand that this is quite a new area of security to some of you. So what we've done is taken steps to make CSPM as accessible as possible. And we do that by including a core set of asset discovery and security scanning capabilities with our workload protection product. That's called InterceptX Advanced for Server with EDR. So with that, we're extending protection beyond just those server workloads to critical AWS, Azure, Google Cloud and Kubernetes cloud services as well. Because ultimately, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to secure your cloud services, your data, your other workloads. Make that as easy as possible, whichever provider that you're using. So, why do we start here? Why do we start with cloud optics and CSPM? Well, it's really because of how attackers are getting into your cloud environments. As you can see here, accidental exposure continues to be the main area of weakness for organizations. This is how attackers are getting in, either through security misconfigurations in 2/3 of incidents, or through credential theft of credentials of your cloud accounts, if you like. But with misconfigurations, obviously this is the biggest piece here, with misconfigurations being potentially quite new to many of us, I wanted to spend some time looking at why they are such a big problem. Now, to do that, I like to use an analogy. So let's start here with our on-premises or your private data center setups. Now, I like to think of security here like this building, where all access goes in and out through one single point. Now, it's the same for your network, where all traffic goes in and out through a well-defined ingress-egress point, all protected by your firewall from threats. So nice and straightforward. The cloud kind of blows that whole concept apart. In the cloud, you need to think of your virtual network more like this building, with multiple windows, multiple openings. These all equal multiple potential access points for someone or something to get in and to get out again. So all it's going to take in this example is for someone to misconfigure a route table on your firewall. And now your virtual machines running private server workloads or perhaps hosting sensitive data, they're suddenly accessible from the internet. Plus, you're likely going to introduce new cloud services, providing shared storage, containers, database services, serverless functions. And these are services that can't have a security agent run on them. So your surface area for attack now becomes larger and it becomes more dispersed. And these services can easily, again, be misconfigured to allow things like public access to the internet, or for ports to be left open, like remote desktop protocol, for instance, data to be unencrypted, and so on. It's all about how you can easily, inadvertently, move your assets one step closer to the criminals, where they can now automate searches to identify, detect, and exploit these gaps in security posture. Now, we know this because we've observed attackers actively searching for weak points in security posture. We recently carried out this threat research project where we span up 10 different virtual servers, each spanning a different geographic data center. And we just sat back, we monitored the failed login attempts over a period of 30 days. And in that period, you can see them here on screen, there are around 5 million failed login attempts via RDP. That's an average of 13 login attempts per minute, or about 757 per hour. The fastest instance here was Sao Paulo. That was just 52 seconds from the point that we put that infrastructure live to the point it was detected and someone was trying a brute force attack on that VM. Now, countries obviously differed, California or regions, if you like. California, that was 14 minutes to discovery. UK came in just 1 hour and 13 minutes. But even at that time, still incredibly fast from the point that a service or infrastructure goes live. So you can see how quickly attackers are trying to identify these weak points. Now, all organizations need to do, we need to prevent these weak points, these misconfigurations in security posture. You need to detect them, detect those changes when they're introduced. You need to be able to do that faster than the attacker's automated searches can find them. So, simple. This is why at the heart of our cloud portfolio, we have Cloud Optics, that security posture management solution, to give you that ability to automate the detection of these weak points so you can be as automated and as fast as attackers can find them. Now, to give you a taster, I'm going to show you this service in action so you can see for yourself how we make it simple to analyze that security posture across AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, all in a single place, in a consistent UI, so you have less to learn from that point of view, and allow you to focus on the highest priority alerts and close that skill gap with guided remediation to fix these security weak points fast. And now, to do that, I will switch over to a live demo of Cloud Optics. Now we'll start here on the Cloud Optics dashboard, where you're going to get an overview of the security health of your various AWS, Azure, Google Cloud environments. Now, where I'm going to take you to start with is through to our inventory. And this is going to give you the facts and figures behind your cloud deployments, exactly what you have running, with the ability to drill in for more information into security issues, what you have running, what might be stopped, patch status, etc. Now, where this starts to come into its own is as you start to rebuild, refactor applications, you start using containers, serverless functions, and other different services. So here you can see we have hosts, containers, network security groups, storage services, IAM roles, serverless functions, databases, and so on. This gives you that single unifying view across your cloud estates. This alone saves teams hours, if not days, of time compiling this information. From here, where we can head to is the network visualization. And this is where we start to take that inventory of your cloud environments and turn that into an accurate, on-demand network diagram. So this is a big compliance requirement that you supply this. And again, this is something where your environments change quite regularly. This is going to save teams a lot of time compiling this information. And also, it ensures it's accurate. Now, from here, we can start to overlay traffic information, inbound, outbound, and internal traffic. Importantly there, I can then use anomaly detection to start to identify areas of unusual traffic, such as maybe a data breach in progress. And we do that with the IA included with Cloud Optics. Now, from there, what we can say is, because this is a demo environment, I don't have any real traffic as such. So instead, I'm going to start to analyze the native cloud provider security groups, so that the firewall rules that are within those cloud environments. This is important because by analyzing those security groups, we can see where traffic may flow in the future. So if these virtual machines or if this database had the ability for traffic to flow directly to those services, and those services have sensitive or valuable information, that is a security weakness and a security gap that you want to close, obviously. Now, from here, where we're going to head to is the alerts view. I really want to show you how we're going to help you to prioritize alerts and also address and fix those security issues within your environments. Now, what I'll do, instead of going to the alerts page, which I could do very easily, I'm going to use this global search, which is available from any page in Cloud Optics. And we're going to search for RDP, that remote desktop protocol related security alerts. Now you can see that's preempted, RDP and alerts. So we'll click on that. And then instantly you can see any alert here that's related to that particular issue. Now from here, immediately you can start to see we are prioritizing those alerts based on risk level. So immediately I can straight away drill into the critical alerts within my environments. From there, I can drill into any one of these individual alerts. We decided to talk more about Azure today, so I'm going to drill into this Azure alert at the bottom. Now, to help your teams, what we're then going to do is to show you a summary of the issue, a description of what the problem is and why you'd want to address that, and the remediation guidance as well, including any links to cloud provider knowledge-based articles on how to fix that problem. Now, because the different cloud providers expose different levels of API integration to us, here I'm showing you the documents for Azure. If this was AWS, I could push you straight into your AWS console as well. So that's how we're helping you to fix these issues much faster. We're also helping with alert fatigue here by grouping the affected resources. So if I have 5 resources all suffering from a similar issue related to RDP, why give you 5 alerts? I can give you 1 alert and show you the affected resources. So it's allowing you to cut through that noise, if you like, that cloud providers might give you. Now from there, I can even start to assign these tickets straight out via Jira or ServiceNow. So I can push that into my kind of standard workflow, if you like, of tickets and have these issues addressed. Now this is particularly important around security, maybe even more so in terms of compliance, because you can start to build compliance into daily processes rather than having that big bang that say the GDPR audit is coming up and we need to fix various issues around the environment. So I'm really helping your teams there. Now I'm going to close this down just for a moment and then just show you the various different alert types that we're also able to provide you with detail on. And I'll just mouse over these. So we've covered security monitoring alerts already. Any various security gaps related to your environment, we can surface that information. We also have these anomaly alerts powered by our artificial intelligence. That's looking for 2 main areas. One is user login abnormalities. So I normally log in London. I'm now logging into my Azure account from Japan. That looks like either misuse or malicious behavior, maybe stolen credentials, so you need to investigate it. In the same way, we can look at network traffic anomalies as well. Is there unusually high outbound network traffic, as in a data breach in progress? We need to address that as well. We're also going to pull in AWS Guard Duty alerts here. We have a number of different integrations with Cloud Optics, AWS Guard Duty being a primary one. This is more about the easy button, if you like, for Guard Duty, making those alerts consumable and allowing you to cut through the noise to look at what I need to address as a priority. Then we have infrastructure as code alerts. So if you have a development team, they may be using automation, so CI/CD pipelines to automate the build of cloud infrastructure. Here what we can do is to embed optics at any stage within that build pipeline to assess those infrastructure as code templates to ensure that weaknesses are not built into the definition of your infrastructure. So you're not going live with insecure, uncompliant infrastructure in the first place. And then lastly, our most recent addition, spend monitoring or spend optimization. But I will talk to this in a little bit more detail in just a moment. So I'll pass on from that one just for now. Then you can also see to the side here any compliance tags related to those alerts. Now from there, it's a neat segue over to the policy management. So this is where we would see the security best practice and compliance policies. Here we're going to be able to map these policies automatically to your infrastructure, and you can customize any of these policies if you need to. So what I'll show you is more of the output of those reports. If I move over to reports here, you can start to see, say, the AWS GDPR compliance report. And here you can see any of the various requirements of GDPR that I'm either failing against or passing. And I can go in to address any of those failures. Likewise, I can download these as an export to CSV or as a PDF download. And I can download that PDF with or without remediation guidance as well. So I could hand that straight to an auditor should I pass all of those requirements, of course. Now from here, I want to draw your attention to the IAM visualization features of Cloud Optics. So today, in our recent survey that we mentioned in the presentation, 91% of organizations have overprivileged IAM access roles, as in the users, groups, or services have permissions to other services that they simply rarely use. And if those credentials or if those roles are compromised by attackers, it can move around your environment wherever they need to go. Now, one of the big challenges with IAM is it is quite complex to visualize and understand. So as you start to see here, firstly, we're going to help there by visualizing all of your relationships between users, groups, and services to really clear up that picture. Next, I can remove anyone who isn't overprivileged, or leave, should I say, just those overprivileged access roles. Now this is a demo account, so my roles are quite badly behaved, as you see, so that didn't clear up too much, but it would clear up probably more for your environments. From there, what we can do is to say, I'm going to go into, let's say, this individual user. Let's pick a good one. There we are. I'm going to pick this group of users here. And so you can start to see exactly what services I have access to. Now this group is overprivileged because they have access to 2 services that they haven't used in the last 12 months. So they are overprivileged. So what I can then do is to view and update their levels of access and their permissions and start to define a policy that is more suitable to their needs. Okay, so this is all about really clearing up IAM, making it as easy as possible for you to police, manage and update permissions before they are compromised by attackers. Attackers know that this is hard to manage, and so that's why they're starting to attack this particular vector. Now, from here, where we'll go, and there is a lot more in optics to show you, but I'm conscious of your time, so what I'll now show you is the spend monitoring capabilities of Cloud Optics. So here I can see exactly what I've spent in AWS and Azure for the last month. Immediately I can compare month on month, so I can see any variations. I can then drill into daily and monthly views of my spend. We're going to switch to Azure just very quickly so we can show you that. I can now drill into those individual services that I'm consuming from Azure for better clarity, and a huge time saver for teams is that I can start to compare the individual Azure services side by side on the same screen, and I can do this for AWS as well, drilling in to any of those particular areas that I want more detail on. This saves teams valuable time because they are not moving between consoles and different services trying to collate all of that information. So much better clarity equals much better accountability and overall cost optimization and cost savings. You then have a full exec summary where I can compare all of my granular features month on month up here at the top. I've then got the facts and figures below, so you can see all the variances month on month. But where this gets more valuable, should I say, is the recommendations. Now you can see the recommendations at the top here that we're serving into this environment. But what I want to draw your attention to is the types of recommendations that we're pulling through with the service. So to start with there, with AWS, we will give you 6 recommendations out of the box from Cloud Optics. These are included with the service. Now AWS works a little differently to Azure. So if you have the AWS Trusted Advisor service, and to get that service you would need to have a business or an enterprise support agreement. If you have that service enabled and you're paying for it with AWS, we can pull those recommendations into the service as well. So you've kind of got the best of both worlds for AWS. For Azure, we then have the Azure Advisor service, which allows us to pull in even more alerts. These are included for free with Azure, and so we can pull those in via the API. The benefit to you is if you have a multi-cloud environment, you can now view those recommendations in a consistent UI in one place, dramatically reducing the amount of time it's taking you to optimize spend in the first place. Okay, and that brings me to the end of the Cloud Optics demo. And now I'm going to cut back to our presentation. Now, we're so confident in Cloud Optics as a centerpiece of your cloud security strategy that the team at Sophos even uses it to protect the Amazon Web Services environments used to host Sophos Central itself. This is the basis for the Sophos cybersecurity system, the ecosystem that we've been talking about today. And this is a cloud platform trusted by over 150,000 customers around the world. Now, a quick hint, you may want to write that number down to win a prize in just a moment as well. Now, the primary reason that our own teams use Cloud Optics is that it shows them where to focus, to proactively stop any potential breach points before they happen and wipe out breach points affecting security and compliance status, all while helping them to optimize cloud costs at the same time. So to get you off to the best start with your cloud strategy, Sophos is offering a cloud security assessment service. This is all designed to give you a baseline of security posture. Now from here, we're going to work with you to build the right cloud security strategy for your organization, your industry, your sector. And with that assessment, you'll receive guided setup of the AI-powered monitoring service at the heart of our cloud ecosystem, that cloud security posture management service called Cloud Optics. Now, this is a read-only, agentless SaaS service, so very low impact. Then, for 30 days, the team will be able to work with you to complete a security and compliance review of your environments. And at the end, they'll present back a summary of those assessment findings and identify any follow-up actions to harden your security posture and help you optimize infrastructure spend with AWS and Azure. And most importantly, what we'll be doing there is give you an accurate picture of what you have running in the cloud, to give you that baseline that we both need to build that strategy to secure your cloud environments, whether you are consuming or whether you're creating services in the cloud. Now, I hope you've enjoyed today's session, but before you leave to go off and enjoy the rest of today's sessions, I just want to highlight your chance to win this Maverick mini drone from Sophos. Now, all you need to do to win, for a chance to win, is to answer this question that you see on screen. How many Sophos customers use the Sophos Cloud Security Platform? Little hint there, hopefully you wrote it down, but the little hint, it is between 100 and 200,000 customers. Now, once you remember, head on over to the virtual stand from the Sophos' virtual stand and request a link to provide your answer. That will then be, the winner will then be announced in the closing session at 4:30 p.m. And now, once you've done that, once you've entered your answer, don't forget to head on to Jonathan Hope's chat room lounge session. That's at 1:40 p.m. today, where Jonathan, one of our leading SEs here at Sophos, is going to be talking about cybersecurity, the human challenge, where he discusses the role that we humans play in cybersecurity. But from me now, that's the end of the session here. I hope you've enjoyed all the information we've been able to share, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.